Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. This is The Roaming Prepper. I'm your host, Pete, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Today is going to be a Saturday Sitrep, but I'm going to go over some of the international highlights like I normally try to do, but then I'm going to deviate a bit for something a little bit closer to home. So I'll be right back, and let's go through the Sitrep and see what's going on in the world, because times are a little weird. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and I appreciate you guys joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I normally do try to premiere these videos. In the event I am unable to premiere, or I don't make my own premiere, which happens frequently, or I pop in and get a work call and I disappear, please leave your comments below. If you want to share the video, that's always appreciated as well. So I'm gonna go really quick through the international stuff, and when I want to talk about something a little closer to home, specifically what's going on with the end of Title 42 here in Texas, at least what I'm hearing and what we're seeing. So for the international stuff from Africa, Chad, this is Africa News on MSN. 17 civilians were killed in an attack. They don't specify what's going on. Now, right now, Chad, Nigeria, Kenya, Chad, Kenya, Sudan, they're all having a lot of issues, as we've all known. Kenya, the TEA concerns hit by Kenya sex abuse probe. So an international body said it had suspended its certification for two major global tea companies, it's tea, not TEA, duh, after an investigation into sexual abuse scandal in Kenya. So a lot of these smaller countries, we see it here, like these Epstein types, these rich people that go to these small countries, and because they can either pay people off or there's not enough law enforcement to really do anything, they will they'll wind up abusing women and children and shit. So again, a lot of struggles there. Mali is reporting nearly 500 people were killed. Malian army and foreign fighters, and they don't specify who, executed at least 500 people during an anti-jihadi operation. That's Yahoo News, and again, they executed them. They didn't kill them in a fight, according to this. So, yeah, yikes. South Africa faces questions over weapon supplies to Russia. U.S. issues a warning. This is from Africa News. The U.S. ambassador to South Africa accused the country Thursday of providing weapons and ammunition to Russia for its war in Ukraine via a cargo ship that docked secretly at a naval base near the city of Cape Town. And this is an important topic here. The Chinese and Russians over the last 15, 20 years have been systemically opening naval bases all around the world. So we're not the only ones. We used to be the ones who did it, us, England, France, Germany. Russia has done it historically since the Cold War, but now China's doing it too. So we've got a lot of overlapping military bases in parts of the world. And also, not everyone's on America's side. You know, here in the US, Canada, Mexico, we're like, oh yeah, we're great. There are a lot of people who think we're assholes. I'm just gonna say it like that. So there's a lot of threats going on there. Sudan, belligerents sign a commitment to protect civilians. They had a brief ceasefire, and they've opened humanitarian corridors because they're realizing that they're fighting, the two sides are fighting with each other, and they're killing a slew of civilians. Moving over to the East Asia and Pacific, hundreds of thousands to be evacuated as Bangladesh and Myanmar brace for a severe cyclone threat. Reminder for all of us in North America, hurricane season starts June 1st, and Houston should be, they may have already had it. They should be having, if they haven't already had, their annual Hurricane Expo, which is really a baby prepper convention. So that's where I met my mag, that's where I met a lot of my guard buddies. So check your local, especially if you live on the Gulf Coast or in a hurricane prone area, check your local emergency response people and ask them, do you guys put on a seminar? Do you put on a trade show, a convention of any type? By the way, we'd go and we'd get a bag of goodies because, you know, you had companies giving away like little flashlights and all sorts of stuff. So it was really cool, and you got to learn stuff with the family. So just a reminder, hurricane season, June 1st. Bangladesh, Burma, and India. Again, the cyclone. Sorry, again, the cyclone for Burma. Okay, moving on. China, Russia, Ukraine. China to send a special envoy to Ukraine. Russia from Monday. So that's Yahoo News. China is now trying to negotiate a diplomatic solution between Russia and the Ukraine because we're clearly not doing anything other than we're giving weapons to one side. Then we're buying solar panels from China that's being made using Russian oil. So, yeah, we're funding both sides. We're just doing one through China and the other one directly. So I don't know what to tell you there. Philippines. Philippines court acquits Leila de Lima, vocal critic of Duterte's war on drugs. As you all know, President Duterte actually is having drug dealers beaten and child molesters beaten and then thrown in jail. In some cases, he has them executed after trial. So we're celebrating people who victimize children here in America, and he's putting them to death over there. So you take your pick which extreme you want, but I just think it's kind of funny because I promise you I wouldn't want to go molest someone if I knew they'd cut my hand off or they'd burn me at the stake or whatever the hell they're doing over there. Anyway, moving on. Europe. Armenia reports new border clashes with Azerbaijan forces, the Azeri forces. So this has been an ongoing thing between the Armenians and the Azeris. And this points to something else. So we all look at Europe and we're thinking like NATO and Europe. In reality, there are a lot of countries that are on the fence. There are a lot of countries that don't like each other. Like Armenia and Azeris, they don't like each other, right? Pakistan and India, they don't like each other. The Georgians don't like the Russians, and they don't like the Kazakhs. The Kazakhs are not friends with the Georgians. Hungary, even though they're part of NATO, are great friends. He likes Putin, but he doesn't want communism. He just likes to be a bully. Yeah, and then you have a lot of countries that are overlapping, and it smacks of World War I, where we had all these little countries and peoples, and they were all angry at each other and puffed up and had little alliances, and then someone screwed up. A driver goes the wrong way and allows a Serbian nationalist to kill the Archduke, and it just gave everyone an excuse. The irony is nobody liked the Archduke and his family. They thought he was a pain in the ass because he was kind of more modern thinking, like, oh, we need to, incorporate all these people, and they're like, no, they're all peons. And then he got killed, and they were like, oh, this is an excuse to go to war with Serbia and take their farmland. And we all know what happened thereafter. So interesting. Turkey's Erdogan faces toughest test yet in landmark election. So President of Turkey, Erdogan, is under really serious challenge because he's becoming very dictatorial, and he's trying to make claims to parts of what used to be the Ottoman Empire. And Greece, another NATO member, has had arguments and threatened combat with ships with the Turks, which had to get mediated by the French. So again, our belief that everyone's on the same page, not so much. So yeah, interesting times. Israel walks away from ceasefire talks as rockets begin flying again. That's from the Times of Israel. Israel came under really heavy attack from Hamas. So Israel retaliated. Now there are rockets flying back and forth. Then the Israelis went and conducted airstrikes despite trying to get a ceasefire going. India, more Modi, less Hindu nationalism. According to the New York Times, they're trying to work more toward a more inclusive, moderate government, a little more centrist than being way off Hindu or way off something else. Again, everything I'm reading this week, Western Hemisphere, Colombia, this is Reuters, Venezuela and Colombia to increase military presence along their shared border to try and stop cartels and drug and sex trafficking. So, and it's just, and then Haiti's like lost control of one of their entire dock cities to the gangs in Haiti. So right now, they report to Mexico, confusion resolve at the U.S.-Mexico border. So what you're seeing is a lot of issues between countries, ranging from nationalism to religion to very old hatreds to things like drugs and trafficking and cartels that both countries are trying to control what's going on between them, but neither one really can by themselves. The fact that we have so much overlapping instability, so many overlapping threats between these countries, that's very concerning to me. And going to that last point, which was the Mexican border, confusion and resolve. Title 42, and I just tripped on Luna, who is hiding under me because there's thunder outside. And of all my dogs, the big one is horrified. She's literally drooling below me. That's why Bentley and everyone are quiet, because I have to kennel them, because they mess with her and then she gets mad and she beats them up. So everyone's in protective custody today. Poor girl. Oh, it's all right. She's like drooling. I tried to give her this little like go to sleep pill so she'd chill out, like knock her out a little bit, and she rejected them. So Bentley ate all of them. So now he's stoned, and Peppermint's stoned. That's why they're quiet, and she's freaking out because she won't eat the pot pills or the hemp pills. There's some little dog treat that has a little hemp on it, and I don't know, it just chills her out. Just so you guys can see, I don't abuse my dog. It's actually like an actual hemp. Calming support. I know, she ate the crap out of these the other day and she was super chill. But anyway, I digress from pothead dogs. Seriously, she's like drooling down here. She's freaking out. Title 42 was originally a caveat which allows the government to shut down the border and deport people to prevent the spread of an infectious disease. You know, think zombie apocalypse, but we had the Rona. Now with the declaration from the current administration that Title 42 is no more because the lockdown, because the emergency has passed, even though they keep throwing it at us on the news, means everyone now has to move to a Title 8. And up until yesterday, or day before, so today's the 12th of May, 2023, Title 42 ended midnight on the 11th. So literally, 17 hours ago. There are hundreds of thousands of migrants now on the border. As a matter of fact, because what the cartels have been doing is broadcasting, hey, they're going to remove the Trump era restriction. Really, it wasn't a Trump era, it was more like a Title 42. He just used it. You can come into America, so they're flooding the southern border with people. I'm seeing reports out of Brownsville, Texas, out of San Antonio, out of Laredo. There's tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people. The director of the Border Patrol in the El Paso region said we were expecting a surge to hit about 2 weeks after Title 42 ended. It is not. The surge is here right now. He said that on the news, on ABC News. I actually will try and show a link later with the article that, the video I watched. The people in El Paso are saying they're finding migrants in their backyards, they're finding them in their sheds, they're breaking into people's homes, they're getting shot, they're mugging people and stealing their cars. It's an absolute shit show. Now, I want to say for the record, one sector in El Paso, the migrants have actually made an organized camp. The U.S. has put porta potties there, and the people are actually making lines. And there's Border Patrol agents on both sides of the fence, and people are in line, and they're trying to come in the right way. They want to be here, and even though they're not doing it the way they should, at least they're in line. They're not trying to sneak in. They want to come in, and they're waiting their turn, and I'm okay with that. The ones that are sneaking in and magically showing up all over the U.S., especially in Texas, that's going to be a problem because we don't know who's there. They have stopped a pile of Chinese a bunch of Iranians. So the Chinese were in El Paso. I believe they caught some Iranians and Russians in Brownsville, coming across Matamoros, mixed with the Hondurans, Guatemalans. And ironically, the majority of these migrants are not Mexican. They're just coming through Mexico. So Mexico has a problem now too, because they have tens of thousands of people camped out all over their country trying to come here. And they're being victimized there by the cartel. And the federales are already strung thin, so they can't really do much for them. So they're, you know, they're young women disappearing and getting kidnapped and getting trafficked, which it just pisses me off, especially with what happened to my colleague's daughter in Houston, which is a whole nother video. God, that pisses me off. Anyway, I digress. I'm swirling out on you guys. Anyway, back to the topic. Right now, there's a lot of confusion. There are a lot of people on the border trying to come in the right way. And they've actually, like I said, they've made camps, they're in line. I actually saw drone footage of our Border Patrol guys with National Guard out there, and they're like, okay, and then they call the name, and they're like, this is my family, and they go together, and they begin the little process of people with laptops on a table. They're trying to get them in, and the people are willing to wait, and they're willing to come forward. It's the ones that are sneaking in, and the sad thing is, with all our people tied up with these migrants, who else is getting in that we're not seeing? And that concerns the shit out of me. If you've watched the movie Sicario, if you have read the book Sum of All Fears by Tom Clancy, there are multiple film and videography where authors and directors have alluded to the fact that this is a perfect way for bad actors to come in. We already have bad actors here. I'm upset enough about the cartels and the drugs and the trafficking. What scares me, and God, I hope I'm wrong, because my dad predicted this before he passed away. He said, son, go see New York City and go see Washington, D.C. while you still can. And I was like, why are you saying that? This was after 9/11. He said, because the way things are going in the world, one day you may wake up and one of those cities will be on fire. So you mean they'll have a fire? I mean, we grew up in New York, there were fires all the time. He said, no, the whole damn city. Like, it'll be destroyed. Something will happen. He wasn't wrong. And he kind of saw that, and I think a lot of us do too. That's what concerns me. It's not being uncompassionate. It's not being cruel to these folks. There are people dying in the deserts. Yes, they're dying. I've had already somebody tell me no, bullshit. My fellow guardsmen went out there and they showed me pictures of dead bodies and said, this is the people we found. They were reported by a rancher, but they ran from the rancher. And the rancher said, I was actually telling him, look, you come to me, we'll give you some water, but we have to call Border Patrol. And they're like, no migra, and they took off. And he was like, well, okay. So he called the ranch hands and they got the Border Patrol and they all went out to find the people. The guardsmen wound up finding, it was a search and rescue team, and they were gone. They were gone. They had died of dehydration running through the Badlands. So this is a real thing. I feel bad for those folks, but they shouldn't have run. It makes you wonder why they're running. You know, I applaud the ones who are waiting in line in the rain or whatever, in the wind. You know, they're trying to do the right things. There are a lot of kids coming in too, but we don't know who else is coming in. And ladies and gentlemen, that concerns the shit out of me, because those kind of people are worse to me than the cartels. They're worse to me than the traffickers, because they have a goal to do some major harm somewhere. Not for money, but for an ideology. And that's very difficult to battle, right? You can show people other ways to make money and remove that motivation somehow, but someone got it in their heart, you're all the devil and I want to burn you, they're going to do it. And it's going to be in their soul to get it done. And those kind of entrants into our country are what concern me the most. We got a lot of National Guard out there. They got roughly 2,000 federal troops out there. They've added 24,000 Border Patrol. Now, Mayorkas, or whatever his name is, that nutsack who's running Homeland or the border, or whatever he is, and I apologize for the obscenities. I don't like that shit of a man. He actually is doing his job. He said, you know what? Title 8 is effective immediately, and if you don't wait in line and we catch you, we're gonna deport you, and unless you have a legitimate asylum claim, we're gonna kick you out. and when we kick you out, you're ineligible for 5 years to come back. And if we catch you a second time, you're going to jail for 5 years in a federal penitentiary. And then we're going to kick you out, and we're going to keep doing it. So, but the problem is the migrants are already here, and they have no clue this has been declared. Had he done this 3 weeks ago, the media and the government would have had a chance to do it, which makes me wonder why it took him so long. This is his freaking job. So, and for the record, for those people who say the Border Patrol is racist, that's some bullshit, because every Border Patrol agent I know, except for one, are Latinos like me. So I don't get, a lot of them are actually Mexican citizens who became US citizens, and they're like, oh, I was a cop in Mexico, I'll be a Border Patrol guy now, and they speak the language, if not multiple languages, or they're homegrown guys like me and my sons who are like, hey, we got to protect our country, and they do a job. I don't know what to tell you guys. This concerns me, and the fact that it took our quote-unquote leaders this long. We knew Title 42 was going to expire months ago, probably years ago, a year ago, but for sure a month ago is when it hit the media big time. They should have had a plan. They didn't have a plan because they're incompetent, and I'm pissed about it. So now the states are trying to figure it out themselves, and it's costing Texas a lot of money to do this. The one consolation is we have other states, both Democrat and Republican, I gotta give due credit, are sending extra guardsmen down or guardswomen down to assist with helicopters, with hospital beds, whatever they can spare. But everyone's in a bind. All the states are in a bind. So I don't know where this is gonna go. This just seems like an amazing opportunity for a pile of bad people to get into the country, wait for a year or 6 months, and then do something horrendous to all of us. And they're letting it happen. I don't know what to tell you guys. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on what's going on at the border. I may have to go to El Paso, so if I go to El Paso or to the border, I'm gonna try and freaking do a live stream if I don't get run off by the cops, and I'm gonna go and show you guys firsthand. I haven't traveled as much, largely because my work keeps me here, but something's not right, guys. Something's not right, and I can't put my finger on it. So be vigilant. Those of you who live, we're all scattered around the country. Pay attention to your local area. Pay attention to your local heartbeat of your community. And if you see something out of whack, call it out. Don't hesitate. Call the cops, call the city, whoever you think you have to, call sanitation department to pick up the garbage. I don't know. But watch your surroundings, because what we're going to see is these tens of thousands of people migrate in. You're going to see new elements in your neighborhoods, and nobody's exempt. Whether you live in Kansas, Arkansas, New York City, Houston, out here in West Texas, you could live in Bufu, Indiana. There's no such place as Bufu. I'm just picking on Indiana today. Ohio, wherever the hell you live, you're going to start seeing people show up. Not necessarily the devil, but pay attention. You guys are smart, all right? If I learned anything about the people who follow me, you guys pay attention. You're smart. You're trying to stay informed. You see someone new and you're like, oh, hey, and they seem okay, maybe not so bad. But you see someone and you're like, I don't like that person, and my dog's already growling. That may be someone you need to pay attention to. So it's on us to watch our own neighborhoods and to protect our communities and be vigilant. And if you see something really out of whack, call the law and have them deal with it. But you're going to be the first set of eyes and ears. They've defunded the cops all over the country, and now we have a flood of people coming in, some of whom are going to be doing bad shit. So guys, pay attention, be safe. Godspeed if you're traveling. Remember, travel awareness. Check your hotel rooms, make your door locks, watch those parking lots. I can't emphasize this enough. We're introducing a new element to the country in a large quantity. Pay attention to what's going on. And those of you who run stores and private businesses, do your receipts in the middle of the week. Don't wait till it's dark to pull your receipts and go make your deposits, because you're going to set yourself up for a target. I could go on for a whole hour about that subject, but anyway, I'm going to stop now. Guys, God bless, Godspeed, take care of yourselves, pay attention. Things are changing in our communities, And we may get some great people in here. They're not the ones I'm worried about. It's that 1 out of 100 asshole or terrorist or someone else, some bad actor. Those are the ones who can do a lot of harm. We've got enough trouble of our own with our own people, much less these guys. So y'all take care. I will see you on the next video. Have a great weekend. God bless. Be safe.